Okay, so we start now, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very a very warm welcome from the Naval Connection, and to everybody who's joining us today live on YouTube or also on this platform. This marks the inaugural episode of the Seafarer Talks, and this is an inaugural monthly series that we've just launched, a series dedicated entirely to the men and women who form the beating heart of the global maritime industry, and that's the seafarers. Through this series, we aim to bring together voices from across the shipping ecosystem, from onboard ships as well as from ashore. And this will be addressing the challenges, the changes, the opportunities facing the seafarers today, whether the opportunities are there of a regulatory nature or the developments or welfare concerns. It is of the industry innovations, threats, or career evolution. This platform, Seafarer Talk, is for the seafarers, about the seafarers, and led by those who stand with them. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome from the Naval Connection blogs. And what better way to begin than with the topic that's currently at the center of the discussion of every maritime conversation, and that is the recently released circular by the Director General of Shipping. What you see I have in hand today is the circular number 31 of 2025. The trigger for this discussion is this circular, which has created tremors in the maritime circle. Most of you have been talking about this circular. And as we know, something that creates a wave hits the people who ride it. So we are here to discuss the importance of this circular and its intent and its directive. For years, there's been this rising concern about the issuance of fraudulent certification by certain administration. Certificates are often handed out without any real training, any assessment, or validation of competence. In such cases, a person may step on board and be on the other ship that you're navigating. That person might never have even given an examination to get a COC or her COC. So is this creating a risk of quality, enhancement of quality on board ships that we navigate today? Let's put it in context. Would you ever go down under the knife of a surgeon who's never passed a medical exam? If your answer is no, then this becomes a competency issue, and so does trust. Unfortunately, a seafarer's qualification aren't stamped on their forehead. So how do we know while seeing a seafarer whether he is competent or whether he has the requisite amount of authentication on his COC or her COC? In a globalized profession as the merchant marine, it becomes the responsibility of the administration to uphold the standards and protect reputations. This circular then is a step towards cleaning up the system and reaffirming the credibility of the Indian seafarers. But, ladies and gentlemen, with every policy comes its share of real-world consequences and challenges. This move, while well-intentioned, raises some serious concerns. And these are the difficult questions that I'm going to ask today to the speakers and to the administration. What about the Indian seafarers already sailing under such foreign certificates? Are their jobs at stake? Will this certification issue lead to the sudden unemployment, mid-contract disruptions, or legal complications for seafarers serving on board right now as I speak? Can an industry authority or a maritime organization and administration limit its citizens from working internationally? This then becomes a case of jurisdiction and rights. Is this case a regulation gone too far, a wake-up call for long overdue reforms? So these are the questions that I'm going to put forward to the panel today, and we will bring all these questions to the table. We've assembled a perfect blend of panels of experts who are directly engaged with this issue, from RPSL industry heads to leaders of the maritime and to the seafarers who are affected. This will be an online debate discussing the pros and cons of the topic, because when the wave hits, it's the ones that are at sea who feels it first. Let's hear their voices, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Let's hear their voices, their worries, and their suggestions from the people who live this reality. Welcome to Seafarer Talks, episode number 1. And I take this opportunity to welcome all the speakers. Let me introduce one by one. Captain Mahesh Yadav, Director Training FOSMA. He needs no official introduction because he's a doyen in the maritime training and education. He's been very closely associated with the STCW convention over the years and over the decades. Captain Rajesh Tandon, CEO of FOSMA. Captain Shiv Halbe, CEO of MASA. Captain Sujit Churi was supposed to be there at the panel, but unfortunately, due to the sad demise of Mr. Icott from Great Eastern, he's headed for the condolence, and so he's given his apologies for not being able to take part in this. Captain Hirok Banerjee, a sailing master, and he's well known for his open talk and a perfect figure to come in on the inaugural session of the Seafarer Talk session, episode number 1. And now we have also the Chief Officer Mujib Qazi. He's a sailing chief officer, and mind you, he has a second mate from UK and a chief officer certificate from Sri Lankan. And as far as I can see, Sri Lankan is not there in the list of the approved countries for as per the circular number 31 of 2025. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this event is being live streamed on our YouTube channel. And with this, I will want to come back to Captain Halbe with my first question. And I know he's an intense personality who goes deep into things. Captain Halbe, sir, if you're hearing me, this is your first question. What, in your view, do you think was the primary intention of the DG Shipping on issuing circular number 31? And is this a problem of, is this carrying forward jurisdiction issue for the administration? Captain Halbe, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Shaukat. It's indeed a pleasure to be on this forum. It's great that you organize such a talk because, at the end of the day, information feeding in from all the quarters helps form a bigger and a more accurate picture. So thank you for that. The question is, what you asked was what was the trigger for this circular by DG Shipping? Is that the simple question you asked? So
that is right, sir. What was the trigger and what was the intent and intention of this circular?
The DG Shipping in this particular circular has given the preamble is the basis on which seafarer certification is supposed to happen. It talks of qualification, certification, and medical fitness. Qualification is the process. Certification is the act, which at the end of the qualification process, you get a certificate. And medical fitness is as per STCW, and a person needs to be fit to perform his duty. So these are the 3 elements, and which are very clearly laid out in STCW convention and other ILO or MLC 2006. These are all laid out. The concern is that apparently there are Indian seafarers who are being lured into getting higher qualifications by another flag state without actually going through the qualification process. And thus, to put it in blunt words, what the DG's circular is saying, that these are not deserving candidates who actually have got this certificate. And apparently, this menace has been increasing, and this has led to certain other issues which they have not stated in the circular, but which we are reasonably aware, or we understand what the situation is. Now, is the DG right in issuing such a sweeping circular? First thing, their intent is correct. The intent is correct simply because somebody has to do something about it. It is indeed a menace, no question about it. You gave the example of a surgeon without a qualification. This is not much different, If you are going to put on the bridge a person who is not going to be qualified, and there are going to be 20 other people sleeping down below, assuming that the person is qualified, this is going to cause mayhem, and we should not allow that. Absolutely not. However, the question does come in that not everybody has actually gone and obtained a certificate in the manner in which is envisaged in the circular. There are people who have got such certificate maybe 10 years ago. When I say such certificate, means the certificates which are not listed in the DG's annexure. So there could be someone who has a Sri Lankan or a Bangladeshi certificate of competency, or a Hong Kong or a Canadian certificate of competency, and he's contentedly sailing on ships for the last 10 years without any problem. Everything is going fine. Now he gets impacted by this circular also. And that indeed is a matter of concern, that should we be stepping on the livelihood of legitimate people. That is definitely a matter of concern, because it is not only about that, it is also impacting the business then also. See, there is a little impact, there is a certain impact on the business also, because there are certain businesses where the skill sets required are not that that all encompassing. You could be having a ship which is only sailing between, just to name a couple of ports, no offense meant, between Abu Dhabi and Sharjah. That's all is the voyage it makes. It carries maybe some clinker. You really don't need the skill sets of a VLCC master to undertake that voyage. So there may be some special certification for that. Now that person also loses his livelihood. And I think I'll stop at that. You have got another 20 other eminent personalities, so we will move on. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir, for this introduction and discussing the intent behind the certification. I do agree to what you said. However, we'll come back to you later with this statement that you made about the special certification. But as of now, we don't see any provisions for these special certifications in this particular circular that's been issued. So that's a great point. I'll come to Captain Rajesh Tandon, who has decades of experience and he's been a doyen in crew management, decades of experience with Seafarers, sir. And coming to you, sir, how significant do you think is this threat of fraudulent certification today? How does this circular address the risk, or is it just the intent is just to address the fraudulent certificate? And also, how do you think this will affect the seafarers who are out at sea? So that's my question to you, sir. Captain Tandon, sir, do you read me?
Yes, sorry, my microphone was on mute. Bad. Good morning, everybody. Shoka, thanks for starting this series. I think it's a very topical subject, and I must thank everybody for attending, especially including Captain Banerjee and Mr. Kazi, who are here, the face of all the 400,000 seafarers of this country, and for their courage to come up and speak out about it. I think you have laid a good background, and both Mahesh and Captain Halve have also laid out the specific points that are under concern. But to answer your specific question to me, fraudulent certificates, I for a moment, and I don't think anybody here will condone anybody sailing on a fraudulent certificate in the merchant marine. Fraudulent certificates should be dealt with as sternly as can be possible. However, the definition of fraudulently obtained, was it with intent to defraud the system? Was it they were unaware of the system, or they are only taking benefit of loopholes within the system, etc.? That matter should be addressed, and it should be closed out, not only at the India level, but at the global level. As we are all aware, STCW works in a fairly complex kind of a situation. You can have an Indian national who has done his education in India, is sailing on a ship which is approved by a different flag, and it fulfills all the flag state provisions, but they don't have a relationship, or a bilateral or a unilateral relationship in terms of certification. So if he has got that certificate and is sailing on that ship, is he fraudulently trying to cheat the system? I don't think so. I think there needs to be clarity, and this is a very important point that has been brought out by this circular. I think it's the elephant in the room that needs to be looked at, because India's perception and India's reputation in the manning market is taking a beating because of such cases. We are having DG is also faced with abandonment of seafarers who are going through these, with due respect to the people who are working with this, they may have the best of intention and doing everything compliantly, but the ease by which you can get those certain certificates is being also used by people who are trying to defraud the entire system and abandon people all over the world. So what the DG has done is right. He has called for the data from all manning agents, legitimate bona fide manning companies, to provide data which flags they are having from their crew employed, and they will then take a review. What I would have perhaps hoped for, that the DG should have called for this data and then put this ban, because as has been said by Captain Halbe, we don't want bona fide people to lose their certification. As we heard, you mentioned Captain Kazi is holding a Sri Lankan certificate, or Mr. Kazi is holding a Sri Lankan certificate and is sailing on a third flag or Sri Lankan flag, we don't know where. But he has done the education and training in Sri Lanka, as I understand, and has then, after sailing, is he holding a fraudulent certificate? I don't think so. I think he's holding a bona fide certificate. I'm not seized of all the facts, but these are the cases that DG will have to look at, and we can't take away the livelihood of such people. There's a chatter on the WhatsApp Academy that there are over 10,000 or 20,000 people who will lose their jobs. Well, if they have got fraudulent certificates, then I think they deserve to lose their jobs. Thank you.
Right, sir. The message from you is very clear, and from the association, that if you have a fraudulent certificate, you should lose your jobs, not jeopardize the whole system as a whole. Right. So I'm going to come to Captain Mahesh Yadav, who has got again decades of experience in working very closely with the administration, sir. Sir, my question would be, how will this circular affect Indian seafarers who are currently doing or pursuing their COCs from other institutions or non-recognized countries which are not there in the list? So and there can be thousands of them right now as I speak. So how is this circular going to affect them? Are they going to retreat? Are they going to lose their jobs or their employability prospects? How is this going to be addressed, sir?
Yeah, good morning and thank you. I think as to the first question, the people who are currently sailing on board ships with the certificates other than the countries listed in this circular, that's a policy decision, what is intended to be done with them. And I believe, as was mentioned earlier, that DG Shipping has asked for the data from the companies, the flag by flag and person by person with all the details around there. And maybe based on that, some decision may be taken, because it is just not just not possible for any system or any company operating from India, employing thousands of people, to overnight get everybody back and go just because the circular has been issued. That is something which is not practicable. And let the DG Shipping take a call after they have got the data available from everybody. What was the next part of your question?
So my next part of the question is, what do they do? Is this, are they going to balance out? Are they going to retreat, or maybe try and do it from a recognized institution as per this circular? What do they do? What do the seafarers do now?
No, I think it's too early to probably, communicate any kind of advice or suggestion to the people. The ones which are undergoing, some training or certification system elsewhere other than in India, or in India, maybe through some other systems. I think it's too early to take a call on that part of it, that whether they should discontinue their studies or the training program and go in for whatever is mentioned in this circular. It's too early on that to take, to say that. I mean, just take an example. If, as somebody mentioned, that if somebody is undergoing training in Sri Lanka, and I don't think we are in a position right now to tell him you discontinue and come back to India. No.
Right. So this is the message to the seafarers, that this is there is going to be, we'll wait it out for maybe the circular is simmering right now, and we will see how this positions itself in the near future. So it's maybe too early to comment on what the existing seafarer does, who are thinking of doing a certification from the non-recognized institution. Coming to Hirok now, Captain Hirok Banerjee is perhaps the change maker. You're the person who are navigating our ships right now as we speak, and perhaps the most important part in this whole maritime circle and in the oceans. Captain Hirok, I'll come back to you with a very simple question. How do you think this is going to affect you? And do you think this is an advantage or a boon or a bane? Your thoughts on this circular, please.
Thank you for the question, Captain Shaukat. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in the stream today. Before
Yeah.
I proceed with my answer, I would like to express my sincere sympathies for all those who will be suffering because of this. Having said that, having said that, I don't mean for the people who have fraudulently obtained the certificates. What I mean is my sympathies are for those innocent new seafarers who do not have the idea of what they are doing. They are only following the agents. I am at the sea for quite some time. I have sailed with young boys coming from villages. They don't know anything about the merchant shipping. They do a certain training course. They're guided by these agents and they get some certificates and then they come on board. They do some courses as well. So, what has happened is a little sad here. Having said that, this is very important and very right what has happened. I feel this because I have sailed on ships with different kinds of crew. Some with these substandard certificates, also with the good and the certificates which have been mentioned as per the DG circular. I've sailed with crew from there also. So, my experience has been not that always a certificate of competency holder who has a white COC, that's what they call a white COC, is very good, or a guy who is from a non-white COC is bad. It's not like that, but right thing has to be done, and there are no two ways about it. Uh, there are boys who are struggling. They go to give the exams, they fail, they study, they work hard, they put time to understand the subject, they take experience, and end of the day I see them struggling outside the offices with their good white COCs obtained by so much of hard work. I speak on behalf of all of those boys, all the crew and all the ratings and all the officers, and then they are standing outside the offices trying to get a job. Meanwhile, one of these uh, non-white COC, not I don't talk personally about a Sri Lankan COC or because I know I've sailed with Sri Lankan officers. We have an exceptional case here, Mr. Mujib. No offense to you, but I'm talking about some other COCs which we know that we can obtain by giving some money to these so-called institutes. And these boys, through the agent, they come on board and they work. So my prime concern, apart from the other implications of this circular, is the opportunities. We talk about employment going away. We are talking about so many seafarers losing job, but nobody's talking about the deserving candidates with white COCs who have worked so hard to reach that position and still they don't get a job because of these substandard seafarers coming in half or quarter the rate and spoiling the market. And then we have some flag bearers of these people who go out and talk with so much sympathy. They criticize the government, that they're criticizing the DG, the people are losing jobs. Why don't we look at the things as they are instead of making stories in our mind of sympathies and unnecessary things? I have absolute trust in DG shipping. I'm sure very experienced people, they have thought over, they might have suffered because of certain things, and that is why they have come up with circular. I absolutely and rightfully support the DG circular, and I thank DG. This should have been done long time back, but I'm very grateful. At least now, one thing I know is the deserving boys will get their chance, which is very important to raise the standards of our Indian shipping industry. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Thank you, Captain Hirok, and that's reassuring. You are the change maker, and you are saying that you support DG Shipping's move for taking all these circulars. I will come to another interesting person in this room today, and Chief Officer Mujib. And Chief Officer Mujib, you are perhaps the one who is directly affected. You have a certificate of competency, second mates, I believe, from UK, and then you did your Chief Officer certificate from Sri Lankan. As far as we know, we don't have Sri Lanka in the list, in the white list that we are being called now. It's being called now. At present, how do you feel when you just saw this certification? We would like to go inside your mind and just if you can speak out your thoughts What do you feel about this notification?
Good morning, all. First of all, thanks for giving me this platform to speak on behalf of the people who are suffering. I think, yeah, it is a good move by the TG, but the way it was brought up, it was not been brought up in a good height. There are people sailing on. You don't know their mindset. So who is going to take their responsibility? Whereas me, I was going to go for my orals, and suddenly this thing flashed in, and the messages were flashing up, the sledgehammer and all that. I got very upset with it. I had spent a lot of time and money for these exams. If I had an opportunity to give it in India, like why would I would have gone to Sri Lanka or to other country. I didn't had that opportunity. I had to spend that money out. Captain Halbe, yeah, like he has put everything in a very right way. I think I don't have much to. We are in touch with our DG shipping Sri Lanka, and they have promised us to sort this out. And I think the DG India should also look into our concern, or else our COC will just become a showcase.
Right. So, Mujib, we will come back to you again with the further questions. I would like to put another question common to Captain Tandon and Captain Halbe, sir. And I would like to ask you, both of you, because you're heading the associations for all maritime RPSL companies. And is this regulation in any way, my first question is this regulation in any way restricting Indian seafarers' right to seek employment globally? Is this a jurisdiction issue? Number one. Number two, can the DG shipping legally prevent Indian nationals from sailing under a foreign flag using a foreign COC? So I would like to come to Captain Halbe, sir, with this question, and then later after that to Captain Tandon.
Okay. You have two questions. The second one is, can the DG shipping prevent an Indian officer holding a foreign certificate of competency in seeking a job on a foreign flagship? That's a question, which is I mean, where the certificate is accepted by that nationality. Under the present system, when I say the present system, is the IMO's various statutes that are existing, provided the certificate has been obtained in the correct fashion, that is not fraudulently. Remember, the words used here are fraudulently obtained. So the certificate could be genuine, but it could be obtained fraudulently. I have a driver's license which is genuine, issued by the RTO in Mumbai, but I did not undergo the 3 months mandatory training that is required with a learner's license. So my license is genuine. I have done some in Bengali hera feri or whatever we say, and I have obtained. So the issue is, assuming that the certificate is genuinely obtained, then I don't think that the DG shipping has any authority to prevent the justified livelihood of any Indian citizen, for that matter. As in, very simply put, in Hindi they say, Miya Bibi Razi to kya karega Kazi. You have to permit him. But it does reflect on the Indian image if we have unqualified and unsuitable Indian seafarers sailing with whatever certificate. Finally, it reflects on the country. It does reflect. If I get robbed in America, it reflects on America. Not that the whole country is robbing me. It's only one person who robbed me, but it reflects. I went to New York, I got robbed, so I will complain. So it is a matter of image also, and we need to be mindful of that. The second question, I will leave Captain Tandon to answer, unless he wants to answer the first one also.
Right, sir. Fantastic answer. I'd like to rephrase that phrase that you said, Miya Bibi Razi. So I'll rephrase it to saying, Miya Bibi Razi, to kya karega Mujib Kazi. Mujib is the chief officer here.
That was Mr. Kazi. It was not. I mean, this is something I never realized.
No, I'm not taking it as an offense.
Captain Tandon, sir, I think, having very closely worked with you, sir, also I know your deep learnings and deep knowledge into MLC also. So if I would like to come back to you with the same question again to put to Captain Halve, is this a
Yeah.
jurisdictional issue? What is the rights of the seafarer, sir? Can Indian government or can any government prevent anybody from sailing with a foreign certificate on foreign flagships?
See, the right to livelihood is cannot be taken away from anybody. That is your right as a citizen of any country. You have the right to earn a livelihood. So to answer your question, no. As long as I am no, fulfilling my certificational requirements as per my employer and as per the administration or as per the flag on which I am going to be working, the DG shipping cannot take away your livelihood. But there are several other factors that are leading up to such issues. What is happening is by these touts and these unregulated manning agents who are cheating seafarers and sending them abroad, and then they end up be getting abandoned or not paid for their wages or whatever else. Those complaints are coming, and those are raising serious civil, social and civil challenges for the government of India. And to try and minimize or eliminate those aspects, DG has come up with these tightening up of the rules that you will not be allowed to leave and things like that. So the DG shipping can issue a rule to all RPS agents: you shall not employ anybody who does not hold an Indian license. That they are well within their rights. But at that time, if the seafarer takes a tourist visa from India and goes to Dubai and then joins a ship, whichever ship he gets, wherever he has made a deal of this kind, then it cannot be stopped. But reciprocally, there is a duty of care of the seafarer that if he gets abandoned in such a situation, then it's a risk he has taken. Now, that is the time when the seafarers then start creating, हमको abandon कर दिया, हमें तो ये मालूम नहीं था, हमें ये नहीं था, and it is happening to a very large extent. There are those kind of touts who are doing it, but there are several cases which have come to us as FOSMA, where people have connived with the traveler, with this a non-compliant recruiting agent and got abandoned and suffered, and then they go to the government of India to seek recourse under the national this thing. So DG shipping is under pressure from such cases that these are the cases that generally get reported in the parliament, because somebody will call their गांव का MP, हमको इधर में है, DG shipping कुछ करता नहीं है, and that sort of thing. So the DG's position is between a rock and a hard place. So they are coming up with regulations to try and, as far as possible, tighten those kind of opportunities to these non-compliant RPS agencies to prevent this. Now, some of the people are genuinely affected because of this circular that has come. And I think as prima facie, as we can see what Captain Halbe said, and he spoke about Captain Kazi, but it's going to be a difficult one, but more and more dialogue is required, and more importantly, the consultation internationally, because bear in mind, we are governed by STCW, IMO, etc. So, and since there are multiple parties involved, as we can see, labor supplying, certifying, labor supplying country, certifying authority, flag state, ownership location. Now, our data has to be shared through the IMO's STCW platform about which certificates are accepted by whom, and that sort of duty of care should be the responsibility of the ship owner as well as the manning agent wherever they are getting hired from. Now, unfortunately, that data is not that information. Not many people know about where to get that information. And I think there should, one of your future things you can consider having a campaign of making awareness of where to check what, whether I'm going here, am I protected, first of all? Will the government of India protect me if I'm stranded somewhere because of a genuine bankruptcy or whatever? So it's a difficult one for DG, and I think we should support, but equally we should stand up for the people who are getting impacted because of, I have to be careful here. The DG in his talk on when the last we had, he said it is not a knee-jerk reaction, but some of the affected people do consider it is a knee-jerk reaction. Thank you.
Right, sir. Very well discussed and well iterated comments, and I'll come back to you with some of them that you made. and which gives deep meaning into the circular. I would like to go to Captain Yadav, sir, with a question. As I see this, sir, that imagine a seafarer having a different certification from a different company. Does the onus of proving the authenticity of the certificate lies on the RPSL company that's employing the seafarer? I mean, if tomorrow the seafarer applies to you, to a FOSPA company or a MASA company with a certification from a country that is not in the whitelist of the DG approved countries, is it the onus of the company to approve and certify and do an investigation on whether the certification is genuine and then report to DG and then ask their approval? How will the process work in this? Who is responsible for the authentication and validation of these certificates?
Yeah, thank you. And coming back again, but as far as the requirements are laid down, yes, it is the duty of the RPS company or the ship owner who is employing the seafarer, whether Indian or foreign. I'm talking about Indian flagship or foreign flagship, to verify the certificates held by the seafarer whom are you intending to give employment on the ship where you are sending people. So that's perfectly all. There's nothing wrong in that. And for that purpose, the government of India has made the verification system available. And similarly, I'm sure the people who are working in the companies, they will be aware of from where to check and verify the certificate issued by various other countries whose certificate holders they are employing. Only thing, my first request before we go further on this is, let us not confuse the word whitelist with this current number of countries that we are talking about. Whitelist word, though right or wrong, though never printed anywhere, has always been referred to since 94-95 to the countries which are on the compliance list, or which are the countries which are given full compliance and demonstrated compliance to the STCW convention. Though this word is not printed anywhere, but this word is used everywhere all across the globe to signify that this country's certification is STCW compliant. Because using the same term over here, it is not correct. I think you should restrict to the DG's list and not the white list. White list covers all the countries which have complied with the requirement of the STCW convention and demonstrated as per the convention requirement that they are compliant with the STCW convention. Okay, now can you just go to the other part?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now can you go to the other part of it? Because yes, it is the responsibility of the RPS company or the ship owner to verify the authenticity or of the certificate. Who's people holding those certificates, they are being employed by the company. There's no issue in that.
Right.
Nobody is denying it. I don't think anybody is denying that part of it over here.
Right, sir. Sir, I did speak to a lot of companies, a lot of representatives, and a lot of seafarers leading up to this online debate. And and now, by the way, we are going live on YouTube, and we are flooded with questions. I would request these now. I'm just can't wait to go to these questions. These questions are being sent by all the seafarers on the Zoom as well as from the YouTube. I would, before I go back to Hirok and Mujib Kazi, I would like to ask another pertinent question, being the CEOs of FOSMA and MASA here. Sir, when a chief officer or when a captain or when a junior officer, and this pertains to ratings as well, when the ratings apply to RPSL companies, will they be put on the lens immediately? Like, for example, we already know that there are certain blacklisted countries or flag states from where certifications large companies will not take. And now, will this RPSL circular put a chip in the minds of the RPSL companies that whenever some, Chief Officer Mujib Kazi, gives his resume to a company, the first thing that the company does is screen and find out whether that's in the whitelist or not. So, is he going to be, taking the brunt of this circular when they apply to RPSL companies? Captain Halve, sir?
To answer it in a very simple and unfortunate manner, the answer is yes. Because please remember, the circular itself gives instructions to RPS, ship owners, etc., etc. So the RPS are bound to follow this circular unless it is withdrawn or put in a bench or amended, whatever it is. So we may need to appeal, we may need to do a lot of things, but right now, as the circular stands, the companies, the RPS companies will and should follow it because it's a directive from the government.
Captain Tandon, sir, on the same question, your views?
Yeah, I mean, it's straightforward. There is an instruction from the DG's office that's saying you shall not do it. If an RPS agency then contravenes that, you are violating the DGS order and you will be stand to action against yourselves if you breach that thing. But I'd like to just go back to the question about which you asked Captain Yadav, which he's succinctly replied about the responsibility of verifying documents and certification. That is an MLC requirement, that an IMO requirement, that companies shall have all databases which will have processes for verifying the authenticity of certificates issued by their nationals in their country. But please understand that those repositories are obliged to be maintained by the country's administration. So if an Indian officer or seafarer, for example, somebody sitting and we talk about this circular being instructions to ship owners who may be sitting in, I don't know, Sweden, Norway, wherever, all they will do is go onto this website and verify that the certificate is bona fide or not. If that certificate is then issued fraudulently and it comes out later on that it was a fraudulent certificate, and DG Shipping then withdraws that thing from there, the RPS agencies do not have forensic capabilities. They will just verify it from the issuing authority's website to see if it is listed as a valid certificate, or the training institutes that are DG approved, that is a valid certificate, and their responsibility is over. If it comes out in the future that this was a fraud, the certificate was not obtained through normal legitimate bona fide process, then you cannot victimize the RPS agencies or the ship owner for that matter, if at the time of engagement it was available over there. So I think it is unclear about some of the circulars that are coming out. People are afraid, and some of our members have called me and asked, does it mean if this happens in the future, we don't have forensic capabilities of doing all this? So that part needs to be also clarified. At the time of engagement, it has been checked, and that checking has to be done from the official DG's website.
Right, sir. Thank you very much. Captain Yadav, sir, again, before I go back to the Seafarers, Captain Yadav, sir, does this notice circular also pertains to training certificates issued by maritime universities? And if it is yes, then does it apply to the COCs? If the training, for example, if it is found out that a particular training certificate is fraudulent, then will it affect that person's COC? In that case, will that COC be banned or taken or restricted, or how does this affect? How does the training certificates, maybe for modular courses, also affect the COC? And how is the implication of this particular notice on the training certificates and their approvals?
No, I didn't quite get it, but just to give you a brief about this part of it, as per the STCW convention, every country, means the country signatory to the STCW convention, is supposed to maintain the database of all certificates which have been issued by them or under their authority. And number two, and make it available to all other flag states as well as companies concerned for verification. So my job is to verify a certificate. And just take an example, I'll take one name called, say, Panama. If a person comes with a Panama certificate, what is my job as a company is to verify that their certificate is authentic as indicated on the Panama administration's website. Can't go really beyond that. There's no way you're going to travel and see varied training. And so, and similarly, there are two things here. One is a fraudulent certificate, which you check on the administration's website, because they're obliged to provide that facility to not only the flag states, but also to the employers. So that certificate does not exist in that. It is a fraudulent certificate. Fine. The second part that we are talking about is a fraudulently obtained certificate. And that's what Captain Tandon mentioned. How are we going to carry out inquiry? Whether this person had a proper 10th class certificate, he had a proper 10+2 PCM certificate, and then he did this, and then he went to this place, and then he attended, and his attendance was not less than 90% or 75%, as the case may be. If you are going to go around doing this to verify the authenticity of a certificate, there's no end to it. Did he actually attend classes in my institute or not? Are we going to check that? The verification of a certificate is to that extent what's the facility which is available to the employers as part of the obligation of the flag states. They are supposed to provide that facility. So we can't really go beyond that in terms of verification of a certificate, whether it is COC, it is COP, or it is anything else. I hope that answers.
Right, sir. So like I said, I've spoken to many people before getting into this webinar, and that includes some people working in the administration also, of course, without naming anybody and keeping the privacy intact. And opinion is that if the company checks and if sees that the certificate is authentic, they can write to the administration saying that we have checked, we have done our preliminary investigation, and we say that this certificate is authentic. And even if the country or the administration is not in the list, that the administration will give the proper approval. So that is again, can't name anybody, but that is the modus operandi of this circular. Thank you very much, sir. Captain,
No, I think we are going a little beyond that. When we say investigation and verification, they are two different things.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. And then
verification means I shall verify on the available database of the issuing country or issuing maritime administration whether this certificate is issued by that administration or under the authority of that administration. That is it. It doesn't go beyond that.
Yes, but again, I don't think those are mentioned, those criteria are mentioned in the circular. It goes, I think, beyond the circular, maybe another circular or something that has to be done in a separate meeting with the administration, because what you say is not mentioned in the circular, what kind of investigation and these stages. So I think that definitely, like you rightly said, goes beyond the scope of this circular. I will come to Mr. Mujib, and I want to ask you one question. Do you feel you were adequately informed about the risks taking a COC from a non-recognized country at the time that you applied? I mean, you must have given that some thought of doing the COC from Sri Lanka, right? What was in your mind? Did you foresee any kind of regulation coming this way, or did you think that your employability will be restricted if you take a COC from Sri Lanka or any other country which might not be approved by the Indian government? How does it feel now? Were you informed of the risks, or did you do a risk assessment yourself? You're on mute, Mujib. If you can kindly unmute and speak. Mr. Kazi, you're on mute. Yes, please speak now.
Right. I even did my mates from UK, but the thing was that I just missed on my paper, and since I overstayed there by a day, and they banned me for 5 years. So I was looking for some cheaper options, or so I was sailing with so one chief officer, Sri Lankan chief officer, guided me. So he said the cheapest option there, and so like already the money was wasted there. So I can't wait for another 5 years. So I landed up in Sri Lanka. Since I saw that IMO thing was like it was showing in the whitelist, and so that is the reason I landed up there, where it was not an easy thing. I spent about 1.5 years clearing my papers and my exams, and now this is where I am now.
Right, I understand. But then my question again is beyond the scope of this webinar, but I'll ask you offline perhaps. Did it actually turn out to be cheaper for you having waited there for 1.5 years and doing an exams from a non-med? And this also brings another question to my mind, something that you said, and I will come back to this question to the leaders, Captain Halbe and Captain Tandon, sir. So he's talking about a whitelist of the IMO. So is there a whitelist, such a whitelist exists from the IMO? And if it is yes, then does the Indian government have all the countries listed in the IMO whitelist, or is there an exclusion? I don't know. Is there a list from IMO also on the whitelist, sir?
Yes, there is a circular. If you can Google it, there is an MSc circular, which I again downloaded it today.
Yeah.
Captain Halve, sir?
What Mr. Kazi is saying is correct. There is a IMO circular issued in 2021, which lists out the countries which are in compliance and they have submitted the necessary information to IMO. Those are listed. And as Captain Yadav pointed out, this white list is a misnomer. There is nothing called a white list. We refer to it as a white list because it is a white, because a black list means something else, so it is a white list. The other thing is that regulation 1/10 of STCW is categoric, that needs to be mutual recognition. That means the countries, so every country that is on the white list does not automatically recognize the certificates of another country in the white list. It is not a requirement. The countries need to have either a bilateral agreement or a unilateral agreement. Bilateral agreement, India has given us the list in Annexure A of this circular. They have bilateral agreement with 5 countries. This means that an Indian seafarer holding a UK flag certificate can sail on an Indian flag ship with certain requirements that may be there. Similarly, an Indian seafarer holding an Indian certificate of competency can sail on a British flagship, provided they meet certain other requirements, maybe, whatever they may have. But they are, in principle, accepted. However, India has there are unilateral agreements. For example, with Marshall Islands, it's a unilateral agreement, which means Marshall Island will accept Indian certificates of competency on their flagships, but India need not accept a Marshall Island certificate on an Indian flagship. So this is the way the system works, and it's working quite fine. There is no requirement for all the whitelist countries to accept each other. There's no such requirement. I hope I have answered.
Okay. Yes, thank you. There are some people raising their hands, and Captain Tandon, yes, sir, please go ahead. Sir, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that to the best of my knowledge and past working when I was there, I believe India has a unilateral arrangement with about 35 countries who accept Indian flags, and they have formally intimated to the government of India that we recognize your certificates. That is there, but we need to check what the status is now, because this circular should have captured that as well, which it has not. Because let's face it, 80% of Indian seafarers work on foreign flagships, and 60 to 70% of those sail on Panama, Marshall Island, Liberia, those 3 premier flag states that are operating the international fleet today. There is an arrangement, because I spoke to some senior people in Reston about it last few days. They said this has been communicated. How old is this information now, and whether it has been updated, etc., or not, we don't know. But this information should be available on Liberia's website. If you go and say, it will say it accepts Indian certification. Or Marshall Islands website, you go and see, it will say it accepts India certification. So I think these things need to be refreshed, re-examined, and correct circulars issued, and paperwork completed, documentation completed with all the flag state who India is comfortable with, to make sure that this sort of anomaly and fear shouldn't arise. That now what I don't know what Mr. Kazi must be facing now. मेरे पास तो Sri Lankan certificate, अब मैं कहाँ जाऊँगा, मैं क्या करूँगा? Even though he has done everything with proper examination processes, and his circumstances define why he did not complete the certification in UK and had to take this recourse to work to go through the Sri Lankan route. I think there are a lot of hands popping up.
Yes.
Now. Shocker.
Yes, sir, I agree, and we will come back to the hands which are being raised on the Zoom now, and as well as the questions which we've received online through YouTube as well. One last question to Captain Hirok. Captain Hirok, you're sailing as a master on board. My question is in 2 phases to you. In the future, when you have another junior officer or a crew member coming with a certificate which is not as per the recognition of the DG shipping as per this circular number 31, what will go into your mind? Will you question or not? Or will you put this question to your company? This is number one. And my second phase of question is, if you had to advise a junior seafarer today, right now, as a captain, as a master, as a senior person in the industry about certification choices, what would you tell them in the light of this circular?
Thank you for your question, Captain Shaukat. Very interesting question. And it's not that it did not come to my mind before, because I have sailed with boys from substandard certificate of competencies. But as you're asking me a question as a master on board, yes, earlier I was not in a position to challenge, but now, yes, I'm in a position to challenge. How can you? I'll ask my company, have you complied with the circular DG Shipping Circular 31 of 2025? If yes, then how does this boy come on board? Because just in case, if I'm overseas, there might be a possibility that there may not be any issues. But if we come to India, definitely there are going to be issues with the port state. Personally speaking, I have no choice as a master. I have to ensure the work is done and I have to train the boy and get the work done well. But I will put it on black and white and inform the company that we are not complying with so and so. Then it is up to the RPSL agency and the DG shipping to handle the matter. Can you repeat the second part of your question, sir?
My second part is that today, if you have a senior, as a senior captain, if you have to advise a junior officer to which country or on certification issues today about certification choices, what would you tell them in the light of this circular?
In the light of the circular, it is very clearly mentioned and very clearly explained. The countries which are mutually agreed, as well as the other countries also. If you look at the last page, page 6 of the circular, very clearly mentioned which countries are. But one thing which I think is, what is a guarantee in the future that these countries which are there in the circular 6 will not be again blacklisted by the government? Now that is a matter of concern. So then I would say, Baba Indian Karo, please do Indian examinations, follow the Indian procedure, which is the safest and the best without any doubts. Because still there is no guarantee that other countries like UK or Singapore, tomorrow it might change, and we other foreign national certificate of competency or proficiency holders might again lose their jobs. So this leaving the
Right.
with this one thought. Yeah.
Thank you very much. This has been a really informative and thought-provoking webinar. Now we'll go to the questions and people who have raised their hands. We also like to welcome some very senior people like Captain Barve, Captain Basin, Captain Philip Matthews, who are there, Captain Panelist. Welcome to this discussion. And now we will open this session to the discussion. I think first person who raised up his hand is Captain Jose Thomas. Captain Thomas, if you can unmute and please share your views, or if you have any questions for the panelists.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon to you all. Shaukat, your brother Ajak is sailing with us. And by way of introduction, I'm Captain Jose Thomas, Director of Apollo Ship Management India and Apollo Crew Management India, RPS company. Hello, Rajesh. We are in the sailing training ship together. 1 year, I rugged him as a senior. Hi, Mahesh. Nice to see you. Shiv. Nice to see you. Philip, Matthews.
Sir, you have any questions, sir? Captain
Sorry,
Thomas?
I just took off. But the question was this, that we have naval officers and people with UK COCs, who obtained it earlier when all the courses were in UK, and then they came back to India and did a course in, for example, tanker or oil tanker or chemical LNG, and obtained a Panama COP. Now there are many of them holding that COPs. What happens to them? Will they have to do the course again and get those COPs rectified? Secondly, DG has sent a message the other day asking a summary of all the COC issued by other countries. In that Excel sheet, the heading is COC. The COP is not mentioned. So what should we do? Should we sort of voluntarily give the COP details also, or just fill in COC? Thank you.
So, Captain, who will want to take this? Captain Yadav, sir? Anybody wants to take this from the panelists? Captain Yadav, sir, because it's the
See,
training, sir.
yeah. As of now, the way we look at it, this circular number 31 by DGS has been issued. And we are here today because we are representing against it and we are contesting this. So to give an answer to a question that what will happen and what will not happen, and while it is, the whole thing is, though it is in effect in today's date, yes, but let it settle down, let the final this thing come out after, because after all, if so many people are representing against it, then there has to be a mutually acceptable or a consensus conclusion. That's what we would look for. And once that is there, then I think it will be clear enough as to what to do next. Once we have the corrected or revised or whichever way, what is the shape of this particular circular. As of the other discussions which is taking place, I just want to mention that it is not a crime for a person to go and study in any other country and obtain a certificate of competency. So to put some people who have been invited on the mat only for that, I mean, anybody could have gone to any country and obtained a certificate of competency is perfectly all right. There's nothing wrong in it. And the way the things that we look at it, it is up to that particular flag state concerned to accept his certificate from Sri Lanka or maybe have been, say, Nigeria or any other country for that matter. And that's where the recognition comes in, whether that particular flag state accepts that certificate or not. Going to the other extreme, let's accept the fact that in today's date, as per the statistics available, the most recent ones, about 12.5%, 13% of the Indian seafarers out of 3 lakh some numbers, about 12, 13% are working on Indian flagships. If the balance 87% are on foreign flagships, that itself, it shows the story that 87% of our seafarers are actually working on foreign flagships. And they have certificates from India, from UK and other countries which are where we have a mutual recognition, or some other countries' name which are mentioned in the second list in that same circular, or maybe any other country which is on the IMO whitelist, including Panama, Liberia, Hong Kong, Marshall Island, or any other country. So till now, or so far as whatever the situation is, what we understand is that it is the flag state's decision to decide whether to accept a particular certificate or not.
Right, sir. Thank you.
As long as that is the status, I think we should limit ourselves onto that part of the discussion, because I mean, there is no end to it. I don't want to speak further on this particular topic, but there is no end to it when we have a situation where 87% of the people cannot be employed in our country and they're working outside to get employment. We need to be a little careful in what we dictate and what we don't dictate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think Captain Philip Matthews has also had also raised up his hand. Captain Matthews, if you're there, you want to say something? Some thoughts from you?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, sir.
Yeah. Captain Rajesh Tandon said that we have unilateral agreement. We can have agreement with everybody because Indian seafarers with Indian certificates can sail anywhere. So nobody is stopping that. Well, we can have with all the 174 IMO countries or whatever. Now my question is that DG has issued a circular. They have given us 5 days to respond to it with whatever they have you want to say. They will discuss it internally. They will come out, if they find it suitable, they will come out with some solution. So are we even in a position today to come out to submit to them a letter which will be unanimously agreed by everybody? See, this is the problem of the industry lies there. We speak different voices. Well, if the circular is to get rid of fraudulent certificates, I don't think anybody here is objecting to fraudulent certificates being weeded out, and it should be. What I understand is that IMO, in the council itself, issues were raised that maximum number of Indian seafarers are abandoned, stranded, and this does not augur well for the country. So when DG takes an action, that action is based on, and I do understand this is based on a lot of research and they have been working on it for a long time. Now, if we have to respond, we must respond to it in such a manner that everybody who has a problem should unanimously come to a solution on a piece of paper, write it, submit it unanimously, because stakeholder meetings, as I see, have no conclusions. Everybody speaks in different voices and they cannot come to a conclusion. So I would just say that. Otherwise, I am fully supporting that fraudulent certificate should go out, and how these fraudulent certificates are going out, that is a matter for the administration to find out and do that. I'm not in any way saying that genuine people should lose their jobs or something, but when the people take such actions, you cannot say that ignorance of the law is pardonable. No, everybody takes a conscientious decision, and then these type of things do happen. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As far as I understand, sir, the circular, before the circular was intended, normally it's the matter for the Ministry or Director General of Shipping to take all the seafarers in account and their views. I don't know whether this was done. Of course, Fosma Masa is represented here. I think all the companies were taken into account and their views were taken before issuing of this circular. I have Synergistic Solution raising up their hands.
Hello,
Hi,
Shaukat.
sir. How are you?
Yeah, great. I put my questions on the chat, and just the core one of the core issues seem to be like an AB getting his next certificate competency as a master's certificate. Now, can anything in this circular do to prevent that from a foreign flag? And I think the answer is no. So this has to be addressed at the IMO level, and not at just because there in the whole thing there are some low-hanging weak fruits, you just put them to task. I don't think that augurs well. We need to discuss, the DG has to discuss with the IMO Council and the other areas, because it is definitely giving a bad message across the world that many Indians are getting fraudulent certificates from foreign states, from foreign flags. That needs to be addressed, but I don't see how this circular is addressing that.
Right, sir. I think, is there anybody who wants to answer this? Is there a question here? Right.
Yeah, I'll venture.
Yeah.
I quite agree with Captain Achyutan that the issue is not local as much as it is at IMO level. If any country wants to issue certificates, say for example, just taking an example, if
You're muted.
Sir, please unmute.
Yeah, I quite agree with what Captain Achyutan has said. So I'll just venture something that and this needs to be taken at IMO level. If UK wants to, and there's an example, if UK wants to issue a certificate based on course done in India, then they need to inform the Indian government that I am setting up a shop here and I want to train, and that would then work in a more transparent and a systematic manner, and it will have some credibility. Just by printing certificates and giving them away, we will just be harming ourselves in the future, and we need to be very, very mindful of that. And the real problem here is, as he pointed out, that an AB or a Viper gets a master's or chief engineer certificate. It's a problem, and we need to see how to handle that. Thank you.
Right, sir. We'll go back to the questions that are there online as well as from the YouTube. There are many questions, trying to a little bit filter those, because some of them we have already answered through the discourse of the speakers. One of them is that, sir, does India have jurisdiction to cancel certification issued by another flag state which is already there in the whitelist? Yadav, sir, or Captain Tandon, sir, does India have jurisdiction?
One word answer: no.
No. Okay.
No,
Right.
the simple answer is straightforward. India does not have any jurisdiction to cancel anybody's certificate. If he has acquired a certificate from, I mean, just take one word only, Panama, that is a certificate issued by Panama flagship. I will certainly would not like to go anything beyond that on this topic because that certificate is not issued by you, so there is no question of whether India recognizes that certificate or does not recognize. That is within the prerogative of the Indian government, and there is nothing really beyond that.
So even if they call it fraudulent, it doesn't mean anything.
No, you cannot. I think this is again we are getting into very complicated this thing about the use of words. Any certificate issued by any country which is on the so-called IMO whitelist is a certificate issued by a country under the STCW convention by a compliant country. There is no way we can call it fraudulent certificate. Just say that 5 countries are okay and the rest all are fraudulent. No, absolutely not. It can have very bad repercussions from all over the world. You are accepting, you are recognizing, very good. It's up to you, whatever you want to recognize. But the ones not recognized cannot be called fraudulent certificates. You say, I'm not accepting or we are not recognizing. That's it. It is nothing really beyond that.
Right, sir. Aishwarya Gupta Pilankar. Aishwarya, if you raised up your hand, kindly you can unmute and speak, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to speak to Captain Tandon and Captain Mahesh Yadav on this. Captain Tandon has just rightly said that there is a unilateral agreement and a bilateral things. The list of unilateral and bilateral is still there on the Ministry of Shipping Post there, which has 36 countries. So since MASA, FOSMA, what I understand, we are all the stakeholders here. If we are agreeing on, I don't know whether we are or not, but if we are agreeing on, couldn't we write to DG saying that at least these 36 countries or the 35 countries that are listed in the ministry's port list can be considered as not a fraudulent, first of all, where again not speaking the word fraudulent is what I would like to, but at least considering them into the list that is there mentioned in the 31 of 2025. I would want Captain Tandon and Captain Yadav to give me some light on that.
Okay, so thank you for the question. FOSMA, MASA, INSA, and ICSA are already deliberating amongst their member lines, and we will be writing to DG on at least a minimum where we have a minimum agreement, this thing common. Shaukat, you had muted me. Anyway.
Negative, sir. I've not touched
I don't know. Somehow I just went into mute. I just realized. So
No
sorry,
problem.
Aishwarya. I just reply again. FOSMA, MASA have already started that discussion, and I think it also answers Captain Philip Matthews' question. We are in the process of gathering information from our members, and we hope to write a collective letter, basically pointing out to the points that you raised, as well as what Captain Philip Matthews raised. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I hope, Aishwarya, that's the answer to your question. One question has come in saying that my question is that other countries also having FOG COC. I don't know what is FOG, but I know what is FOG is fog. But I think he means for FOG is fraudulent certificates, and they will replace us in large scale. And by keeping us employed, is it really helping seafarers? So again, we are coming back on the fraudulent part, which is clear in all ways that nobody supports fraudulent certificates and needs to be weeded out. There is one question which is
Shaukat, I think Aishwarya's question was not very clear. See, when she says that the list of 35 countries, etc., those countries who are saying they'll accept Indian certificates. India has only accepted 5 other country certificates. Am I right, Rajesh or Hashiv?
Yes, that is correct. That is those and the appendix A of that, whatever it is at the back of the certificate.
Yeah. So Aishwarya, so your understanding is slightly just correct that it's the 35 countries, they have accepted that Indian certificate they will accept, but that's a unilateral thing. It's not a bilateral.
Absolutely.
Okay, right. There is one question I don't know. I don't think anybody want to answer this, and I definitely won't. But this question has come up, and this is a seafarer saying that seafarers sue DG Shipping in a court of law, and is there any chance of them winning?
Can I answer that?
Yes, sir. Please.
Just like you said, you would not like to undergo opinion from a surgeon who has obtained the knife fraudulently. I don't want to answer that question of nobody here because we are not lawyers. The law and order has its own condition, and all I will say is the country's legal system permits anybody to sue anybody for anything. So that system exists. But whether we can answer this question, whether they can get anything out of it, or whether they can sue or not, well, that you have to ask a lawyer.
Thank you, sir. It puts light on me also. Next time we'll have a lawyer on board as one of the panelists. Okay, I'll go to Arvind Natarajan. Arvind Natarajan, you have raised up your hand. You raised up a hand, and then I'll come back to Girish for this, sir. Arvind, over to you.
Thank you, Shaukat, for this interesting seminar. My question to anyone on the panel is, if
Arvind, can you introduce yourself first briefly, please? People should know who you are.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all. My name is Arvind, and I come from the International Chamber of Shipping. I represent more than 80% of the world's ship owners, and it is in that capacity that I am asking this question. My question to anyone on this panel is that if we take a case where Captain Kazi, who is also on the panel, with his Sri Lankan certificate, is on a Panamanian registered ship, and that ship arrives at an Indian port. So we have a case where a Panamanian flagged ship having an Indian seafarer with a Sri Lankan COC comes to an Indian port. What would be the conduct of the port state? And that is just, I'm curious to know what will be that case. Thank you.
Can I answer?
Yes, sir, surely. Please go ahead, sir.
Arvind, this is Shiv Halbe. We go back a long way. We know each other for a few years. So my question to you for that is, are you a gambling person?
No, sir, definitely not.
We'll answer that question in Monte Carlo.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But it is very difficult to understand what will the Indian administration or the port state do in that case.
You see, the question in my initial talk also, Arvind, I mentioned this, that this circular is not addressing the existing situation on board. It is not addressing that. There are people who have already joined maybe 1 month, 2 months, 6 months ago. And what happens if their ship comes to India? What happens if that person has obtained this so-called Panama license 10 years ago and he's sailing? What happens? So we have taken up the issue with DGS. And if you remember, or if you recall, there was an issue. There was one Captain Thomas who raised that issue of a template that has been circulated. So when we appealed, DG Shipping sent out a template saying that, okay, give me details of seafarers who are already with you with a Panama certificate, etc. See, this also creates a different problem. Suppose, for example, I as a company declare that, Captain Alpha Beta is with a Panama certificate and he's sailing with me for last, 5 years, and DG Shipping approves that. Okay, so is he approving that captain to sail with me, or is he approving that captain and he can sail with anybody? We don't know that. We don't know the answer to that. So these are all questions that are evolving, and I guess the answer will also evolve. But right now there is a lot of turbulence.
Can I just add to that, Shaukat?
Yes, sir, definitely. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, so hi, Arvind. So basically, the conventions and port state control rights and responsibilities, they can take action as within the port state control rules. What is entitled, what they can officially do. If they go beyond that remit, then that could create international issues, because at this point in time, they have only so many obligations or so much rights to examine. They can examine the vessel, they can board the vessel, They can carry out audit, surveys, inspection, whatever they want. So, but so long as the convention is complied with, the provisions of the convention are complied with, they really will be in a very losing situation if they take any action beyond the remit powers that they have. Thank you.
Shaukat, just to add on, Ajay, if the person concerned, the seafarer concerned, does an act of indiscretion, or if he maneuvers the ship incorrectly and all that, then Port State Control can actually examine a certificate of competency and take orals.
Thank you, sir. But my question is that if the Panamanian flag has recognized a Sri Lankan COC, then how can the Indian administration now say that this person cannot be on that Panamanian flag ship, this Indian seafarer having a Sri Lankan COC cannot be on that ship? Because that's up to the Panamanian flag to decide that.
Arvind, the answer to your question lies in the circular, where it is an instruction to RPSL not to engage that person. So if that Panamanian certificate holder or Sri Lankan certificate holder takes a tourist visa to Dubai or to Colombo and joins a ship from Colombo, he has not gone through the Indian RPSL, nothing will happen. That's what I assume. They cannot do anything. But if I, as a RPS, have sent him and signed him on, then that is where they will go after the RPS. Then that's what I understand from this circular.
Okay.
I think, sir, we'll keep it at that, because I think there are a lot of shadow areas which needs to be clarified also as the circular takes its toll, and a lot more discussions like this happen. But thank you, Arvind, for coming in, and thank you for your very, very thought-provoking questions. I will come to Captain Girish Fadnis, sir. He has his hand raised. Sir, over to you.
Good afternoon, Shaukat. Thanks a lot for letting me speak. Just a point, it's an interesting conversation we've been having for the last over an hour. Just a point to Mr. Captain Tandon and Shiv. We got this circular from DG Shipping. As an industry, have we gone to DG's office or taken an appointment to understand the reason for the circular to come out? Because you see, this has come out after he has returned from IMO. So rightly, like Shaukat, you mentioned, or I think Shiv mentioned, this is not action that he has taken suddenly. They might have done a lot of research on it. So for us to answer back to DG, where MASA and FOSMA having almost 70, 80 companies or with data, have we gone to their office to find out what exactly and do's and don'ts and whys and what's that we've been asking each other? Has that been done? Just a matter of interest.
Answer is yes, we've reached out. They will be what I've been told is that they will contact us after they've gathered the information that they are seeking, and then perhaps engage with us. So
thanks a lot.
That's where
that's it. So we've already reached out to them, and it'll happen. And so a lot of as we speak, a lot of people will get affected, as we call it, collateral damage. But the bigger picture of fraudulent certificates, I think it's a way to go ahead. Something has to be done, and I think he's taken the first step. So we have to wait and watch.
Right, sir. I think waiting and watching is on the cards, and I will come to Samir Khamkar, sir. Now he has his hand raised, but before I do, we have some seafarers also in this. I would like to come to the seafarers, so like Deepak. I think Deepak is the chief officer. Also, I will come to him also to understand how this is taking a toll on all the seafarers. What are their views? So, but at presently, Samir, sir, if you can share your views. Samir Khamkar, sir, you're muted.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be in this meeting and debate. Sir, I'm also the same like Mr. Mujib Qazi, who's the chief officer. I had done my second mates from India, and then I did my chief mates and masters from Sri Lanka. Last around 5 to 6 contracts I've been sailing as a master on board. And recently, just 2 days before the circular came, I was bound to join an MR tanker, and after this circular, my joining was cancelled. And then I actually, in short, I called up the DG ship in Sri Lanka about the story, and and what happened. They told me last 5 to 10 years, Sri Lankan CU, the DGMS is behind our good Indian DG shipping to sign the MOU because they need an MOU. But before that, I was sailing on a Sri Lankan COC. I've done my courses in India with Sri Lankan COC, the revalidation courses and a lot of basic courses and everything. And I was allowed. I mean, if those certificates are accepted, I believe, there has to be something like we have been done our training, and I'm absolutely with our government for this fraudulent certificates. There is no doubt about it. And what has happened is right now they are behind again the DG shipping to sign an MOU, and I don't know what will happen to our certificates. I mean, after sailing for so many years, it's been 28 years I've been sailing now. So, like at this moment, we can't afford to go and give our study again at this age. So, but I believe, and also we sent a mail to Captain Azad, and he told that to the company, send us your documents, we will scrutinize, and we'll come back to you whether it can be accepted or not. But then when it's just the basic difference between a certificate, uh, who's gone proper training and certification as per STCW, and a candidate who's not gone without this as per this. Exactly, and I do agree with this. After going through so much, after studying for the whole year as a chief mate, then studying for 2 months as a master, giving the exams, returns, orals, everything, we get our COCs, and then at this point of the time, when we come to know that we cannot sail, none of the RPSLs are accepting just because there is not an MOU between Sri Lanka and India. Where was this before? I mean, that's what I want to ask. We were sailing before also. Sir, it was like it's been almost 20 days I'm sailing now. But yes, as a second mate, I sailed for 16 years with Indian COC. After that, I got to my chief mates and Sri Lanka from Sri Lanka and my masters from Sri Lanka. It's been 5 contracts now. Nobody stopped. But then they have to differentiate between a non-trained candidate and a proper trained candidate who have given their exams, proper college, who have attended the college, proper exams, proper orals, proper everything. So there has to be some solution for this. That is my question to Sir.
Samir, I think, sir, and everybody listening to us on YouTube as well as here, I think we are coming to the core issue of this debate. There is one chief officer here whose joining has been understandably cancelled because of this circular, and his livelihood is at stake, perhaps. And if he's on contract, he might not go back to the parent company. Now,
Sir,
it
is the same case of me. Sir, I'm sorry.
Yes, that I'm talking about your case itself. I'm talking about your case itself, Samir. If he's on contract, he might not be going back to the same RPSL company, which puts a doubt as to whether his parent company will take up his issue with DG. Who does he fight with, and who does he stand? Who stands by him? Is he going to go to the unions, to the court, to the RPSL, to FOSMA, MASA? And this is actually a case study now. What happens to him right now if we have representative from FOSMA, MASA, as well as all the other people here? If you can kindly throw light on this. I mean, what happens to him right now? I mean, does he wait for the MOU to be happening between India and Sri Lanka?
So, Shaukat, I think, as you rightly said, this is an interesting case study, and I don't have the answer for this. So, but if we can get the detailed documentation to support this particular case, we will certainly include that in our deliberations with DG, because here is a man who's waiting to join a ship. He has to pay his loans, mortgages, education, whatever. Everything has to be done. So what are we doing about him? So these are the things that we would welcome if we can have that through your, I don't know which agent you're going through. If it is a member of FOSMA, MASA, please send it through them. or you can even send it directly to Shaukat, who will make it available to us, and we will take it up to see what can be done here.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your help and assistance. I will definitely send all my documents, like the preparatory course, the results of the returns, everything. I will send everything, and please help, because then there is no difference between us and the guys who have paid money and just taken the certificates. What is the difference then? No, I mean, is there any difference between that? We slog, we get our COCs, and these guys they pay money, and right now if we cannot sail, then I mean it is very saddening and shocking actually. Where do we go? As
Samir,
Chief
I
Officer
have put
Mujib said,
my mail ID. Samir, I have put my mail ID, our mail ID here, media@thenavalconnection.com. We're requesting you to kindly send all the data, and we don't want to take any names here. We've gone through agents, we've gone through RPSL companies. Please kindly put all the data.
proper RPSL.
Yes, yes. So
Till
please put the data, and we will send it to the required people so that this can be taken up at the right time, at the right place. And I think this is a good thing that this deliberation, this debate is showing up. I think if we can help people, help seafarers to get employability, then it's very good. Thank you very much
very
for.
grateful. I'm very grateful, and thank you to all of you all for supporting. And it's been a pleasure being here. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Samir. Is there anybody who we want to end in the next 5 minutes, because it's been a very, very nice, interesting session. We are getting online questions again. So is there anybody who wants to share their views? Any thoughts on this circular, or any case study, or anything that you think can impact the life of seafarers or the RPSL companies? Anybody else wants to share any thoughts on this, please? Barve sir, I'll come to you. You are one of the senior most persons in the industry. If you are listening to us, if you can share your thoughts on this.
Before he comes,
yes, I've sent
just
you some messages, and I got some replies to the present discussions. But it's very important to know the foreign certificate holders who are not in the circular. Can we employ them is the basic question. So I've sent you a mail. Discuss this.
Right, sir. Send me your mail, then I will take this up with the people.
I've sent it on this this group itself.
So you've sent it on the chat itself?
Yeah, yeah.
Sir,
Okay,
one thing I want to tell you, that gentleman for the Sri Lankan, that first he should put a protest against the Sri Lanka Indian embassy in Sri Lanka. Then, because if he is waiting, it will take months. Officially, you put a protest to the Indian embassy in Sri Lanka. They will forward to DG shipping. Then DG shipping will take, because you're supposed to not suffer for somebody mistake. That is the first thing, and make an official complaint.
Sir, agree. Sorry to interfere. I have personally spoken to the head of
that
the
does
DG
not make
shipping.
personally. Don't talk with anybody in an official matter. Nobody talk personally. It's
No,
start
and
with
sir,
documentation.
kindly listen. Sir, kindly listen, please. I have already spoken on phone, and then he advised me to send a mail, official mail, which I have already sent to the DG shipping Sri Lanka. That this is happening, and we are got stuck over here. So what they have promised me,
I'm
like
just
verbally,
suggesting you first you make a complaint with Indian embassy in Sri Lanka. Then do whatever you want
no,
to
sir,
do.
not an Indian embassy, sir. I was directly in touch with the DG shipping Sri Lanka.
So
As
he's
you advise,
suggesting you send a message to the
yes,
Indian
as you
embassy.
advise, yes, as you advise, I will do that, sir. Definitely, I will do that.
Yeah, but
that is
he's
how
an
we
Indian
should act.
national. He's an Indian national residing in India. Are you, Samir? Are you residing in Sri Lanka?
Negative, sir, in India.
So I think he's an Indian national residing in India. I don't think the Indian embassy in Sri Lanka will have any jurisdiction on this. That's my view, I think.
No, Shaukat, because he's doing business for Sri Lanka. Yeah, that would come in picture. I think it's a good suggestion.
Okay.
But earlier we all accepted, or every country accepted Indian STCW. Now why we are saying that they should go to that country and do the courses? Now, it's a matter of question.
We have another question from Kazi. I think, Kazi, you've put a question. Will Indian DG take back the people with banned COCs who's accepted to upgrade their COC through the 5 accepted COC? Can you explain? It's the question is not very clear to me.
And another small question, Charlie to IMO. When you send a letter to there, just send a letter to IMO. That is how it will be pressurized to DG Shipping India. Otherwise, you will stay in month. Just a thought. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I will definitely follow the instructions and I will do the needful. Thank you so much.
Captain Kazi, Mr. Kazi, can you just clarify your question? I couldn't get actually the question that you put.
No, my question is that they have banned Honduras, Belize, and all that. Okay, IMO has got a white list. Just imagine if well, I don't have, but if I have one Honduras COC, and if I'm going back to New Zealand or maybe UK or maybe, and they are accepting my COC. Okay, that will, so I go there, I complete my exams, I come back, and will the Indian authorities accept my COC then?
So that is exactly what it is. New Zealand, Singapore, UK will not take a Honduras second mate and make him a chief mate. That is the whole idea of this circular, that we are coming at a certain level of valid COCs or authentic good COCs. That is this circular, if you understand carefully, in 2 parts. First part is fraudulent. Yes, that has to be addressed to. The second part they are trying to get to is substandard COCs, which are causing problem for DG shipping because agents are bypassing all, sending the seafarers somehow to these foreign countries. The whole idea of the circular is to stop this, to curb this. And what has happened to Sri Lanka COC holders? Yes, it is very unfortunate, because if you look at the sections, the last 6th page, they are writing that yes, the certificate of competencies, the second part, for certain countries who have undergone training. It's a very sad situation for Sri Lankan COC holders, because I have myself sailed with Sri Lankan officers and they are at par with Indian officers in all aspects, because they have done the training, the courses, the examination. So this really needs to be considered. That's why, Mr. Kazi, I had suggested your name, because yours is a different case, and I'm very glad Mr. Samir also has put up this point. So through this meeting, I really expect that if the concerned people here who are more powerful here can raise this issue, because Sri Lankan COC holders, an exceptional case, all the Sri Lankan COC, they are doing all the training, they are doing the courses. If DG is made aware of this, I don't know, I am not challenging them, very senior people, experienced people doing this day in, day out. But if this case of Sri Lankan COC holders can be considered, we get some fruit out of this meeting, and so much time has been spent here with all you kind gentlemen joining in, and ladies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to personally thank Captain Tandon. I think he has a meeting he has to leave. Is to move on, sir. Thank you very much. And like I said, you bring immense value to all the engagements that you are part of. Immense learning from you all the time. So thank you for throwing light on this seminar, this debate, and thank you for being here, sir, with us.
Thank you, everybody.
Captain
Thank you,
Tandon,
Shaukat. And I hope all these cases can assist us to take this matter with the authorities to its logical conclusion. Thank you very much.
Captain Tandon, can I have a quick question? This is Bhavani.
Yes,
Bhavani,
Bhavani.
take it up
Very
offline.
short question.
Bhavani,
Very short question. Very short question.
Okay.
Captain Tandon, just I'm telling you that I have a chartered engineer in marine engineering, and I just apply a simple membership to IMI, in the Marine Engineer of India. They denied it, and I asked, if you denied it, send me a letter. Even they afraid to send a letter. So here I am just telling you, this is how it's supposed to not. On the Right to Information Act, they have to provide a letter. And that is a criminal offense if they don't send it. I'm just telling you. So anything you do officially, it's supposed to be go through an official channel. That's why I told that guy from Sri Lanka, first you make an official complaint, then do everything. This is just
Thank
a
you,
thought. Thank
Bhavani.
you.
I think we'll take it up offline. I know I have your details, I'll connect with you. And that's not the agenda for this meeting about IMEI membership,
No.
but I'll certainly take it up with you offline. I need to leave now. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And we'll leave in the next 5 minutes, thanking everybody And all of you who participated added value to this. Taking time to thank you, the panelists, Captain Tandon, Captain Halbe sir, thank you very much. Captain Yadav sir, thank you so much for being part of this. And Mr. Mujib Qazi, I hope you find respite and a lot of solutions from this. And like we said, we've hit the nail on the head. The topic of the debate thing says that are seafarers paying the price? We have somebody who's actually paying the price. And Samir, please do write to us. Email us with all the details. We will send it to the concerned people. And I
Sir,
hope
I'll send you all my master's details, whatever courses I've done, all my master's details, including the results, everything. I will send it to you personally.
Yeah, we will do whatever we can do to highlight
the
this
needful, please.
and send it to the people concerned who can actually take it up with the administration. That much we will do.
Sure.
Thank you, Hirok Banerjee, and you are now well known for the captain who has been to Libya. In fact, we shared the last video with you. Thank you, Mujib Kasi, and thank you. And thank you, Arvind, for joining us as part of ICS. And thank you, Girish Fadis, sir. Thank you, Aishwarya, Captain Mittal, Captain Sareen is there, yes. Captain, I thought I saw Mr. Hajra also for a fleet moment. Thank you, everybody else who's joined us online for this in the YouTube blogs. And thank you also for sharing your views and making this a really interesting session. We've started this session on Seafarer Talks. This is episode number 1. We already have the episode team working on the episode number 2. Very soon in the next 2 days, we will release another thought-provoking discussion and debate on the episode number 2. And we will come back to you with your participation and support everything. So have a good day. Have a great lunch. I think it's lunchtime.
Thanks a lot, Shaukat.
Thank you to everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you until we meet
Thank you all.
again.
Thank you all.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.